Initially, I was supposed to give birth in September, but now I pushed the dead baby in the same month. And my mom, she was just encouraging me. She was like, no, don't worry. We're still here. We're praying for you and stuff. And then on the 1st of December, my mom passed.
Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm back again with another guest, and this is Miriam. This is also my sister. She's my sister-in-law. We're married in the same family. And yeah, so today we are here with another sensitive topic, because I feel like as women we need to be open more on the things that we actually face. So today we are speaking about healing from a loss, meaning how you heal from losing your loved ones, a child, a mother, a father, how we dealt with it. And Miriam is going to tackle this topic. So Miriam, tell us your journey with the healing from... Oh no, actually introduce yourself.
Miriam, as she said, and we're sisters. Well, it's a very bit sensitive, but we have to speak about it.
Yeah.
So that people have to know, because I know that people have gone through what I've gone through, but they don't know how to pass that.
Yeah.
And they don't know how to heal from that. So today I just want to speak of a bit of trauma. I can say a bit of trauma of losing children. not a child, but children. And how I healed from it. So it all started, I got married in 2015, December.
She's an OG in marriage. It's a long time. I'm only married for 3 years.
So I got married in 2015. And God bless us, immediately I fell pregnant.
Like straight after marriage? Like straight after you got married?
Yes.
Like after how long?
Yes, because I found out 2 weeks after I got married.
Girl!
I was pregnant. And it's not a good experience. It's not.
You guys don't play it.
Don't try it.
I will never see your husband the same. Every time I see him, I'm like, 2 weeks after the wedding.
I fell pregnant. I found out 2 weeks. And everything was going well. That's the trauma that we speak about, because when I was pregnant, the clinic didn't pick up that I had high blood pressure.
Oh, is it?
So every time I would feel like my body something is wrong, they would tell me that everything is fine. So when I was, I think, 5 months pregnant, that's when I started feeling my belly was like burning, like fire. I could not explain. And everybody gaslighted me like, oh, it's heartburn. I was like, I know heartburn, but this is not heartburn.
5 months into pregnancy.
Yes. And then I was rushed to emergency. First, I went to one hospital. They didn't want to attend me because they said that my clinic card was not kept out. It was Joburg.
Oh.
So I was supposed to stand.
Because you had moved from Joburg to Cape Town after you got married.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember.
So I was actually in between Cape Town and Joburg. So I was like, okay, if I'm in Joburg, because I was more longer in Joburg before I became permanent, actually. So
yeah.
I was longer in Joburg. So I was like, since I'm more in Joburg, then I can start antenatal in Joburg. And then when I go there, then so they were like, they couldn't attend. They could not attend.
No,
sorry. I wanted to sneeze. They could not attend my case because my clinic card was not kept down. So, and it was a very good hospital. So from there, my cousin, shout out to her, she just rushed me. She's like, you know what, let's put the card away and then just rush you to emergency. So we went to emergency.
Did your cousin work at the hospital?
No, she was not working at the hospital. She just, knew instincts. She was like, something is wrong, because she had 3 kids then. So she was like, no, something is really wrong, because my body was burning. I'm still explaining. No one will understand what was going on. I kept on saying heat. No one understood. So I was rushed, and then the first thing when I told the nurse was like, I'm feeling like heat. She was like, okay, something is wrong. she put me on the BP thing, and my BP was crazy high. It was like 280.
Ooh, that's a lot. Usually it should be at what again?
Normally, if you're pregnant, it starts to be like the upper part, maybe like 150.
Yeah,
150 is even a lot. But maybe like 140, 120, and over maybe 70 or 80. So mine was 280 over 195. It was a lot. So right to the emergency, put me on aspirin, nothing was working, injected, nothing was working. So they told me I need to try and rest. So until when the put me on the scan to know how far I was, then my fetus showed I was 3 months pregnant.
What?
Yeah, the fetus showed that I was 3 months pregnant. And they asked me, how far are you? I was like, no, I'm 5 months. They're like, no, your fetus is showing that you're 5 months pregnant. Meaning, yes, meaning that the fetus didn't grow enough. So it just stopped growing, and because of the blood pressure. So we were referred to a specialist. We started going. Oh, it was devastating. Like every 2 weeks, you are in the hospital. You sleep.
Every 2 weeks, yes.
Every 2 weeks, yes. You go. I'm admitted, and then 2 weeks I'm out. 2 weeks I'm in. 2 weeks I'm out. Until when we discover that the baby had a hole at the heart. The heart didn't form properly.
At a hole?
Yes. The heart didn't form fully. So we were like, okay, that's news. And then the next week we went, they're like, are you sure you guys don't have dwarfism in the family? We're like, from where? No, because the baby showed the shoulders are short and the arms are like, oh, it's impossible. So we booked for another test where they have to take liquid through your belly button, and it has 89 chance that if they do that test, the baby will die. 89 chance
percent.
Yes,
that's a lot.
The baby will die.
And you agree to it?
No, we didn't. We were like, no, why would we risk doing the test and the baby dies? And they were pushing us. They were pushing the narrative of like, you know what, just remove the baby. And at that time I was like 6 months. They're like, no, just remove the baby because the baby showed that it will have abnormalities. We're like, you know what, if the baby will have abnormality, we want to see it for ourselves. I'll push the baby and I want to see for ourselves.
Yeah.
And then, that doctor will never forget her. We started calling her, we started calling her Ellen. You know Ellen? You know
Why Ellen?
She looks like Ellen.
Blanc. Ellen, I want to fold him out, I guess, sweet.
We started calling her. She was so mean. She understand that it was part of her job, but she was so mean.
Random question, out of topic. Was this a government or private hospital?
Government. It was a government hospital.
Government, we're back again.
So she was so mean. I don't know. It's like, you know, when a person have a bad day and whoever comes your way, you just...
It's ready for you.
Ready for you. So she just told us as it is. You know, the other doctor was like telling us nice. And so when I reached 7 months, one of the gynecologists was like, no, why don't we remove the baby and incubate the baby? She said no. And she said no. She said,
are you serious?
Sir, your baby is only is the size of a packet. You know the Lay's packet?
Miriam, I can see this is you laughing through pain. Wait, what?
Yeah, it was like your baby is the size of Lay's packet. The baby is not big. But I was like, but we just came from the scan. They say that the baby is 750 grams. So it is possible. And they were giving us like encouragement, like, yeah, you know the guy that won the Olympics. This kind of guy, I forgot his name. He was
yes.
He was also
African,
yes. He was also 700, and he was in this hospital. He was one of the They were giving us hope and said, the lady just told us, blank, your child is the size of Lay's chips.
That's really heartless. Especially as a pregnant woman, that's the last thing like you want to hear.
So now I went back home. I was like, okay, fine, let me buy the Lay's chips, because this one said that the baby was 750 grams. But she said it's the size and the weight of the Lay's chips. So we went to get the packet that day, and we were just trying to be like, relax our mind, let's just be practical. So I look at the packet, it's 120 grams. I was like, well, then why is she comparing the baby with this? So she wrote that I had to get steroids, and I don't know me and steroids. I don't know, maybe because it's for the blood pressure or whatever, I don't know. So they gave me steroids, and I had to, you take 2 injections. If you get it maybe like at 5, you have to get it tomorrow again at 5. So I get the steroids. The next time,
for people that don't know, do you mind just explaining what is a steroid?
The steroid is, like I was explaining, the baby was small and was not fully developed. So that was to boost the lungs. That it doesn't have any effect on me, but only on the child.
So that the baby breathe
when they come out, even if it's for a little bit, for some time, but at least they can breathe.
Okay.
So I get my injection today, and the next day I come, I get my other injection, and then I started feeling funny, which I didn't pick. I didn't know at that time, because it was my first pregnancy. So you're inexperienced, you don't know anything. So they always tell me, like, if you feel pain, come straight to the hospital. So they gave us an appointment. They say we're going to do another scan for the last time, just to know where you are with the baby.
Yeah.
If we have to induce you now, then we can have a chance of saving. And they explained to us, if this baby is born, it might cost you money, because we have to place an iron plate in the heart. And that iron plate, the child should not be close to electricity when it's rain. Child, because it's kind of like, because we know a child that went through that, and we saw how the parent were suffering from it. So we were like, no, we don't want that, but let's just take a chance, because we were inexperienced, both me and my husband. So we just said,
what? You're ready to see the baby no matter what, right?
And then we believed and prayed, we prayed and prayed. And then our last scan before I got induced, that's when we got to the hospital. And that morning, mind you, I felt something was wrong. I felt something was wrong, because the baby they had a very strong bond with the father. Every time, even if it's by the door, you just hear the father's where the baby moves. So we woke up, he said, morning, the baby doesn't move. I'm going to bed, the baby doesn't move. I just told him, the baby's not okay. I was like, we've been praying. And I don't want to say that prayer doesn't work. Prayer do work. But in some situation, God will let you go through things to teach you something.
Yeah.
So we left the hospital. We got to the hospital, waited, and then when it was my turn, went to the scan. The gynecologist, just broke in tears and started crying.
Really?
She cried. And I was like, what's wrong? She was like, I don't know how to say this, but I'm really, 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 really sorry. The baby's not. She was crying. Then we went through, and they wanted you to decide there and then. Do we have to start the process of it? I was like, no, please give us time to process it. And then when we went home, it was hard.
And that's you're how many months already?
I was 8 months. It was hard, to be honest.
You had already built a bond with
and
the baby.
Because with that pregnancy, let me just go back a little bit. I was accused of having an affair. That baby was not my husband's baby. So
okay, I wasn't ready for that part. That's crazy.
I'm just trying to be honest here. I know some people that we're not going to watch it, but I just have to keep, because many people go through this and we don't speak about it.
That is so true.
I was accused of having an affair, that I got married, I was pregnant with someone else's child, and it was my friend actually spread the rumor.
Wait, what?
It was actually my friend and was a bridesmaid on my wedding. So
no way.
And she spread the rumor because she was revengeful. She
over something petty that probably happened years ago.
It didn't happen, maybe in her head. She claimed that my husband was her boyfriend then, and then
but then she came and became a bridesmaid.
And actually all this happened after I got married. That's when I started hearing it. What? And it's when my brother-in-law, my husband's brother, came to me and was like, oh, did you hear this? And I was like, oh, really? So
no ways.
So when the baby passed, she spread the rumor again that I lied that the baby passed. I actually had an abortion. And we were going through a lot and the rumors were a lot. Mentally, I don't even know how to explain. And at that time, my mom came. She stayed with me for like a month and a half. As my mom left, after I got injured, the induced process was long. I walked with a dead baby for a month and a half.
Miriam, you've never told me this.
You wanted me to be honest, isn't it?
A month and a half.
Yes, a month and a half. And it's kind of became normal because now you don't. Before, like the first 2 weeks, I was like delusional. I was like, no, they made a mistake. I can still feel the movement. And it was just the baby floating. The baby was just floating, Sometimes I was getting, I was getting at a point. I had to go see a psychologist because it was too much. And I was not eating. My mom would try her best to make food. It's like, you have to eat. I was like, I'm not hungry. Instead, now I said losing weight because now the tummy is basically soft. It's like, now you see people like, oh, girl, you haven't given birth. I have your gift. And you'll be like, how am I going to break the news? So that is why I don't buy baby things before anymore because I bought everything, even the thing that I knew that I won't need it for but I bought everything. So now we're in the process of giving things to people, and they will try to induce you today, and they'll give you like 4 days, and if it doesn't work, they'll tell you go home and rest.
Well, that's crazy. Isn't a C-section also an option to just take out the baby?
They say that since the baby was tiny, it wouldn't have been an option because since it was my first pregnancy, if they do C-section, they'll reduce the amount of times that I have to give birth. So the only process was to induce and give birth normally.
Oh my God.
And they tried everything. The pills, injection, the drip, it didn't work. At a point, my body was so weak and tired.
I'm sure your body was just tired.
Yes. So they started noticing, like, the body is tired. Now the blood pressure is dropping crazy. So when the blood pressure dropped like crazy low, they'll tell me, go home. Maybe you need to be around family for you to hear. And my mom was a very, very great support. So after that, the baby, and sorry I skipped this, I lost the baby 21 days before my birthday. That's when the baby was confirmed dead, 21 days before my birthday. I'm so sorry. So after that, I didn't want to celebrate my birthday because there was just so much going on. So when my mom left, the baby came out. Lastly, God sent an angel as a doctor. He was like, oh, you're still here. And he was also my gynecologist that time. So he was like, oh, you're still here. I couldn't sleep because whenever I close my eyes, I have you in my thing. It's been long. It's been a month and a half. We have to make sure that this baby is out so that you can move on with your life. So the nurses started saying, no, there's no bed. So we can't take her to maternity ward because there's no bed. And he got so angry that I shout out to that doctor. I can't mention the name, but shut up. As we walked, and the good part of that hospital, you can't give birth without your partner. So they had to call my partner to come And he came as we were walking in the maternity ward. We see empty beds, like 10 empty beds.
Yo,
and
that's
that
a bit hard.
When the doctor came and was like, no, it's been long, she's here. And then the nurse said, but our case is not an emergency. We are attending emergency. Our baby is dead. We are attending to people that babies are alive. And I was like, so now we were all worried, like the baby now would decay. Now my mom worried.
That also puts you in danger.
Yeah. So we're now thinking, it's like, okay, maybe it might affect me not giving birth later, or it would create some disease because it's a month. And then my uncle is a doctor too, and he said, no, as long as the water is not broken, then it's fine. So as I was giving my own room, private room and stuff, they started the process and everything. The baby came out.
And you had to push?
I had to push for the first time. The baby was decaying. Like, the bones were decaying. The baby was basically like a paper that you just do, just the head that remained.
That's so crazy.
And the
did
water,
you get to see
yes,
the baby?
we did see the baby. The baby was, the skin was peeling, and they took the baby and I was discharged, and my mom was with me still. Then that's when I think there I was not depressed as much because she was still around. And then when she left, that's when I think the depression tried to kick in. But I had also a great support of friends that were there. I celebrated my birthday with a dead baby in my womb. So they took me out with a baby that was dead. So I'm trying, yeah. So when my mom left, that was, I gave birth, I think it's in September. Initially I was supposed to give birth in September, but now I pushed the dead baby in the same month, in September.
Crazy.
And then my mom left, I think beginning of October. And then my mom had a stroke in November. I don't know if it was the stress of what I went through, or if she had stress prior to that, I don't know. My mom had a stroke in November. And I remember her last word to me, she was like, she used to call me sis. She was like, sis, don't worry, you're gonna give birth again. This is not it's not the end of the world. Don't limit yourself. Because I was so hurt. I was like, Mom, I don't want to go through this again. I don't want to go through pregnancy. It's bad. You have, imagine carrying a child for this long, and you come out with, all I have is just memory, clothes, and everything that you guys bought for me. And my mom, she was just encouraging me. She was like, no, don't worry, we're still here, we're praying for you and stuff. And then on the 1st of December, my mom passed. And I felt something was wrong, same as I felt for the baby, like something is wrong. And I called my family and I was like, something is wrong with Mom. I feel like she's gonna give up her breath today. They were like, no, you know, as Christian, no, God forbid, Holy Ghost fire. So I was like, I don't know, I'm having the same feeling that I had when I lost the baby. And when my mom passed, oh God, I hit rock bottom. I can't lie. I felt, I kept on asking God, like, God, are you this unfair that you let a person lose two things close to the event? Like, it was so bad, guys. It was so bad. Don't mind me, I'm always getting emotional. It was so bad that I became obsessed. Because I was like, my mom's wish was for me to get pregnant, to have a baby. And then I started trying. And all I was doing, I was not trying to be like intimate. For me, if I'm intimate, is I want to fall pregnant.
Yeah.
So prior to that, me wanting a child so badly, to hide my pain because I didn't grieve, because I went straight back to my normal activity, choir, church. I just placed myself in so many departments.
And did it feel for you, sorry to cut you, did it feel for you that was like your escape?
Yes, that was
like in the reality of what happened?
Yeah, when my mom passed, the family asked me to stay a little bit longer, but I knew that the strongest support was my husband. I was like, you know what, And
your husband was in Cape Town?
Yeah, because it was in Cape Town. Yes, happened in Joburg. And I was like, because he's also grieving. You can't just leave him like that, because he was very close to my mom. He was also grieving his first child, is grieving, and the mother-in-law. It was a bit, I was like, okay, let me go back. And then I became obsessed, and obsession got hold of me, and we didn't pick that I was depressed. And that put a strain on my marriage, that we almost got divorced. No one knows that. We almost got divorced because my attitude kind of changed. I was disrespectful. Disrespectful. And he didn't know that we didn't know that it was depression and stuff. So I started challenging him, because I was still hurt. I started challenging him so bad, until a point where I started having pregnancy symptoms. So when I started having those symptoms, I was like, oh, finally, at least I'll have something, because I was going to work. So I didn't have anything to distract me. I was at home, because every time you want to like look for a job and then you fall pregnant, and then they're like, no, your pregnancy is too demanding. You need bed rest and stuff like that. So I could not work. So they were like, so I don't know if it was in my head that I saw the pregnancy test that was positive. I don't know. Really? But it was a positive. And
you took a test, and in your head you saw it positive.
It was positive. There was a line. Okay, the line was so faint that you can barely see it. So until we're like, okay, let's take another test. And we bought another test, and then that's when it said error. So we're like, okay, let's check the packaging, and the pregnancy test was expired. So we're like, okay,
that's fine. So crazy.
So we said like, okay, fine. Then we will go see a doctor. And then I was like, let me go to the clinic. I don't know, to the pharmacy to get medication. I was sweating. So this pharmacist was like, no, why are you sweating? It's cold. Let me take your blood pressure. And my blood pressure was high. And then she was like, okay, we can't treat you here. You have to go to a GP. Then I went to the GP, and I was like, no, you can't give me medication. I'm pregnant. She was like, oh, okay, let me just
You really claimed yourself?
Yes, let me just check.
Hallelujah.
And then she checked. She was like, how is she going to break it to me? She was like, okay, fine, just take this medication. And I didn't know they were antidepressant. She just came and was like, just take them. Then you just feel relaxed, and the blood pressure medication and everything. And then you come in 3 days, you come for another scan.
Wait, are you telling me she diagnosed you by looking at you?
Yes, because I kept on insisting. I was like, yeah, did you see the baby on the screen? It's like, look at the hand. So she didn't see anything, but I kept on seeing those things.
Because the ultrasound?
Yes. Isn't I claimed myself like, I'm pregnant, so you can't give me medication. She was like, oh, okay, fine, let me do a scan. And then she just gave me, and the next time I went, she was like, no, just continue with your medication. She gave me medication again. I didn't know. So one day I went with a lady that we used to stay together. So she was like, oh, let me take you. You know, I love to see baby on the screen. Let me just take you. As we go, they told her she's not pregnant. And you have to tell her that it's all in her head. She's not pregnant. And the medication we've been giving her, it's antidepressant. And she's like, how will I? She took me out, spoiled me. And then when I went actually for a body massage. She spoiled me. We came back home. She was like, I think you should get another pregnancy test. And I was like, what do you mean I'm pregnant? Even when my sister came, I was actually dressing maternity clothes. She was like, why are you so dressed like this? Serious? Why is your hair so I was so unkempt. Like, I did months. Even to comb my hair, I was not like, I would just wake up in my pajamas and nothing was inspiring me. Until one day, they told me after I did the test was negative. Then I'm like, okay. And when the test was negative, my blood just came out. My period started out of nowhere.
What?
Like, oh, maybe it's a miscarriage. And then that's when the lady was like, no, Miriam, you're not pregnant. You're actually depressed because of the event that happened. And I tried to move on. Then one day, I decided, I was like, you know what, the GP is quite expensive. Let me go to public hospital again to just be taking my medication, the blood pressure medication. As I went there, something, as I say, I believe in God. Something just told me, Miriam, go to the maternity clinic. I was like, for what? I was diagnosed last month that I'm not pregnant. So for what? The voice kept on saying, just go. I went there and I got student nurses. They were like, oh, we can't feel anything. Maybe you come back in 2 weeks. And the nurse was like, but I feel like there is something, but we're not sure since you did. And I didn't lose the baby weight. Instead, I added.
I'm sure the stress was just like, take more weight.
I did on the baby weight. So by the time I was like, oh, let me diet and stuff like that, I didn't know. So when my medication finished, because they will give you like for a month, so I was like, okay, let me go and take. And then something told me again, go back to the clinic.
Yeah.
I was like, oh God, what is this? What is this? I'm not pregnant. You know, the GP said I'm not pregnant. They did the test. It came out with a faint line. I was like, oh, what does it mean? She said, okay, fine.
Oh, those mixed signals.
I was like, oh, it did that last time. She was like, let's just send you to the scan and see. As I got to the scan, oh, the lady was so nice. She scanned me. She was like, oh, congratulations, you're 3 months pregnant. I was like, what the? What do you mean I'm 3 months pregnant? And I was like, yeah, but I can even tell you the sex of the baby. I was like, really? She was like, oh, really? Yeah. I'm using, that time I think it was 3D or something.
Yeah.
It was like, I can tell you the sex of the baby. And I just said, it's a boy. And she said, how did you know? And then I started crying. I don't know, I had joy. I started crying. I didn't understand. I was like, God, they just told me 3 months ago that it was in my head.
That I was losing it.
And I was pumped with this antidepressant. And my head, I was like, please check if the brain is okay. Everything is okay. I told her I've been taking antidepressants. I was like, really? Well, just said the GP said I was not pregnant. And the test said that I was not pregnant. So she said, oh, it's fine. Then I have to transfer you to the hospital where you gave birth last time. I was like, okay, fine. There's no problem.
You okay with that?
Yeah, I was okay because it was a good hospital.
Okay.
Yeah. So she transferred me. But now, I think I was overjoyed. I called Happy then and I was crying. I was like, what is it? Like,
I'm sure I was like, don't.
What is it again?
Don't come to me with your nice.
I said, I'm pregnant. It was like, oh. And I was like, nigga, please. Please. He's like, please. I don't want to go through this. I don't want to see you. What you were like on zombie mode. I was like, I am telling you, I am pregnant. The guy didn't believe me. And he used to take me to doctor's appointment. He was like, I don't believe you.
I'm sure him bringing you there was just formalities. In his head, he was just like, this lady, she's losing it.
Didn't. The first time I went, I was like, baby, can we go? I was like, I'm not going. You're not pregnant. I was like, okay.
Gee, man.
I went to the first appointment myself. I came, I was like, no, I'm pregnant. And the baby is growing. Wow. And he's like, I don't believe.
I'm sure even you going, he thought it means it. She's actually going somewhere else.
In my head, I was like, oh, what if that's scan? And then I go here, they tell me I'm not pregnant. What will happen to me? So I went, I was like, oh, you're back. That was quick. I was like, and they checked. I was like, oh, this is nice. And they treated me very well. They were very careful. So now we went back again. The 2 weeks in, the 2 weeks out. So when you go into that hospital, make sure you have your pyjama in the bag.
Really?
Because you don't know, maybe that will be the day they will say, yeah, staying in.
Oh.
So with that alone, they started picking up. My sugar also started going up. And they're like, no, it's okay. We can manage it. It's not really crazy. It's just coming pregnancy. So it's fine. So until I think 6 months, where you now see the baby fully, that's when Harvey was like, okay, I'm going. I don't believe you. Because this thing, you are going to the hospital. I don't believe you.
Actually, you can't even blame him because of what happened.
What happened. Yeah. And as we went there and we explained the experience, we were like, oh, that's when the doctor was like, no, man, you had a phantom pregnancy. It happened to people like they dealing with grief, and now your
I didn't even know that existed. That was actually
your hormones are everywhere. So now your hormones are giving you mixed signals. And then we were like, no, but I had my period. So they're like, yeah, it happened and stuff. So now we were like, is it still in the same period that they say you had a phantom pregnancy? That's when you were pregnant. So we're trying to understand, because the baby was already like, when I found out I was 3 months. So I was like, okay, when was it? When did it happen? You know, when he saw the baby, he cried. He cried. He was like, oh God, thank you, thank you, thank you. And mind you, my husband wanted the first child to be a boy. And I wanted a girl. And the first one was a girl.
Wow.
And he was like, God, why? Until he was so fun. He's like, I want a girl. You know, I always see my friend with that girls. I want a girl. So when now I want a boy, he now wants a girl.
And God said,
yeah. And God gave us a boy. And I was like, oh, I can't wait for him to be a mommy's boy and stuff. But he's not even a mommy's boy. He's not a mommy's boy. So when we were at the scan with the chick, and they were like, oh, you have to watch how you're eating. The baby is quite big, and he's already 1 kg, 0.8 at 5 months. And I was like, oh, okay, let me try to watch what I eat. And then everything was going well until 6 months. The baby is no more growing. The baby is no more growing. And then the doctors went back in the offices, now debating, like, we don't want what happened last time to happen. Let's just remove the baby. And this gynecologist said, no, let's give her up to 7 months. If it doesn't still go up, then we take the baby out, so that we will not have what happened last time. Then one day I felt so tired, and that day I went so late for my appointment, for my monthly check. I went so late. I was just feeling tired, nauseous. You know that tiredness that you can't explain.
And the pregnancy tiredness, you can't explain it.
My belly became so heavy, you know. And I get to the hospital, and they told me the baby's heart is dropping. We have to do a C-section now. And I was like, can't you induce me? I was like, from the last time we induced you, it took a whole month, so we can't really take that chance.
At least they had your history. Yeah.
So they had to go out. So I came as I thank God really that they decided to do an operation, because if it was a minute late, we would have been grieving again. So there was someone already pregnant, prepped for the operation. They had to take her out, and they put me and the baby. They said the baby was weak. The baby was not. The baby screamed.
The baby came out like this. What's up?
So this one went well. We had our baby, and we always call him our little miracle, because he came out a miracle.
I love him so much. His name is Yavin.
Yes. So
love that boy.
Yeah. So after that, we kind of waited for some time, because I was not ready to have another baby. So we waited for some times, and we try again, because you know, having the only child, it's kind of fun. We're like, but it's get lonely. Is it getting on? So we're like, okay, let's try.
How old was he when you guys noticed, like, yeah, let's try for another one?
It's 3, because he kept on asking.
Oh, okay.
He kept on asking, like, why am I the only one? Why your brother have 2 and your sister have 4? Why am I the only one? So we were like, okay, let's try. We tried. That one was going very well. It went very well, smooth.
The third pregnancy?
Yes, the third pregnancy. Though the experience at the hospital were not pleasant, but it went well. Until, guys, listen to your inner voice until someone told me, you know what? Stop taking your medication. God has healed you. And me being a believer of God and the word of God, I said, God spoke. And my husband was like, don't stop. I was like, God spoke. I should stop.
When somebody told you stop taking the medication.
Oh. So I stopped taking the medication. And that's when things just spiraled. And I was transferred to another hospital from where I was. I went to another one. And that's when the nightmares started. As I get to the hospital, I was actually diluted, I think 2 centimeters. But I got there, they told me, no, it's an infection. You are not in labor. And I was like, but I am feeling so much pain. And they're like, no. And then we had this back and forth with the doctor, and she was like, no, I'm not going to attend to you since you don't know how far you are. I'm going to send you to a student doctor. That's when everything went
even worse.
Guys, the student doctor, she just took my file and just went like, not even reading. She's like, where are the scan? Where are all the scan? And the scan were literally just in front of her. Where are the scan? I don't know. Where's the scan? I was like, but the scan is here. And she lost the scan. I don't know what happened. I can't explain what happened that day. Like my scan got lost, and I had all my scan. They got lost. And I was like, but you had the scan. She was like, I can't see the scan. And then she was like, okay, see, they didn't attend to me until 6. They were like, no, we can't.
From what time to what time?
That was 11 a.m.
to 6 p.m.
6 p.m. They were like,
because they couldn't find the scan, they just like sit there.
And then the nurse came. She was like, oh, I need to give you an injection. And I didn't ask. I said, oh, okay. Undress yourself. I undressed myself. And she was like, but your tummy is big. Why did they say that your tummy is so small? And I was like, I am full term. I know I skipped 1 month for a checkup, but I am full term. And she checked me. She was like, yeah, but the size of your belly, it's full term. She was like, but what did I say? I'm a nurse. So she gave me the injection, and then she said, okay, for 5 hours, again, you come for another injection. And then 5 hours I went. That's when I asked, what is the injection about? She was like, oh, you didn't know. I was like, no, I thought you're giving me antibiotics. I was like, no, antibiotics I'll give you as a pill. This is steroid. I was like, why are you giving me steroid? I was like, oh, since they don't know how far is your pregnancy, so they say when the baby is born is be able to breathe.
That's crazy. First of all, that's negligence. Shouldn't they check and see?
They didn't put me on the scan.
They just assumed that you're not.
They just assumed that I was crazy. 7 months there because the tummy looks small. And the tummy looks small, not that I undressed myself and you measured me. No, they just look at me fully dressed and say the tummy was small. So from that, after the second injection, that's when I was breathless. I could not breathe. I started feeling my heart was pressed. My feet was getting swollen. I just called my sister. I was like, please, pray for me. I'm not feeling good. She was like, no, maybe it's the amount of sitting down. I said, no, it's not the amount of sitting down. And they didn't. I sat on the chairs for 2 days before I was admitted. So the 2 days that I slept on the chair, I was not admitted.
Okay, when was the day they gave you the steroid? You had to stay at the hospital?
Yes.
For 2 days?
No, I stayed at the hospital saying that there's no bed. I have to wait for a bed. And those 2 days I was waiting for a bed.
Was on the day you got injected?
Yeah, from the day I got injected.
They made you stay in the hospital?
Yes. And
for 2 days?
For 2 days. There was
no bed. And you had to stay on the chair?
We were like, a lot of women were...
How does that even make sense? A pregnant woman? Wait, what?
Yeah, 15 women.
On chairs?
On chairs.
With their pregnancies?
Yes. And the hospital...
Can we do better in government hospitals?
Put us at risk because there was another pregnant lady. And at that time it was COVID. She had COVID and the lady was in the same room as me. And later, one nurse came, the evening nurse, that was like, oh, when she opened the door, like, what are you doing here? And they started getting agitated, and I asked, what's going on? And she came to me, like, I'm sorry, we need to do you a COVID test because you stayed 2 days with this lady in here. Imagine. So I started feeling all this, and the baby's movement dropped. So, like, we were sitting, right? Chair here, chair, like, you know how it is. So the lady next to me, she noticed my baby was moving unusual. He's saying, but I know baby move, but how come am I able to see the baby's movement this much from where I am seated? So I told her, something is wrong. The baby is like, isn't it baby supposed to move? You guys...
Wow.
When the baby doesn't move, the baby doesn't move, you're worried. When he moves, you're still worried. What do you guys want? I was like, I know the baby have to move, but it's serious. The baby moved at a point that my neighbor can see that the baby is really agitated. And she was like, yeah, did you eat? I was like, no. Yeah, maybe that's why you didn't eat. You must eat something. So they brought porridge. I ate porridge. And when I ate the porridge, the heartbeat of the baby started dropping. And she told me, no, maybe because you're still hungry. You know, babies don't move a lot when you're hungry. She was like, go buy bananas. I had to go to the tuck shop, 2 floor down, like that. I went to buy bananas. I came back, I ate. And she was like, the heartbeat is not okay. Let's just wait for the doctor to come. As we were waiting for the doctor came, checked, discharged me. She was like, everything seemed okay. There's no beds. You have to go. Since I'm going to book you for Monday for surgery, you have to go home. And that was Saturday evening. Then in my mind, I was like, okay, it's just one day. And she discharged me around 7. And it was late. So I went home. Sunday, I told my sister. And we were like, okay, since it's 5 a.m., you are going soon to let's just sleep. I just said, and she wanted to go. I was like, well, let's just sleep it out. I'm going to be okay. It's just a few hours and then I'm leaving. As I went to the hospital.
On the
Monday, I complained to the nurses that something was wrong. They told me, no, Sissy, please follow the queue. Because the doctors are not here, but just follow the queue.
Oh, wow.
I started feeling like, because I've been through this, I know. Like, my tummy just became soft. I was like, oh God, not again. And the moment I sat there for 3 hours, I didn't go pee. I've been through this, I know. And I went to the nurse, like, nurse, something is wrong. They're like, how do you know? I said, I've been through this, something is wrong. And then she didn't want to attend to me. And she was like, yeah, but still you have to follow the queue. And after follow the queue, you have to go to finance. And then finance, you have to pay. Since you're a foreigner, you have to pay. And then that's when we attend to you. I was like, but I feel something is wrong. Then this midwife came. And she was like, but she's complaining something is wrong. Then she called me. She was like, what's wrong? I was like, I can't feel the baby moving. And she got angry. I was like, why didn't you say? I was like, I kept on saying that something was wrong. Like, something was wrong is not something the baby's wrong. I was like, no, I felt something was wrong. But the baby's movement was still there. It's only now that I don't feel anything at all. So she put me on the belt, and then she just went like, yo. And then she was like, okay, wait, let me check the doctor is in. Then I said,
you said yo?
Yeah, she just said yo. And then
we all know what yo means in South Africa.
And then I told her the baby is no more. No. Don't say that. You have to be positive because I look at your file, you've lost. I said the baby is no more. Just tell me. It's like, no, let's just confirm it to the scan, because sometimes when the heartbeat is not strong, We can't read it through the belt. And then I went to the same doctor that discharged me on Saturday, told me that go home, everything is fine. That was the same doctor that was there. And then she's the one, she just told me these things happen when you're a chronic patient. And I was like,
what? First of all, zero sympathy?
No, she didn't. She didn't. She looked at me point blank. These things happen when you're a chronic patient.
And that is why they were supposed to attend to you on the Saturday when you were there and not send you home.
I got angry at that time. I was like, so when I complained something was wrong before you discharged me, you told me you didn't have a bed. No, maybe something you ate. I said I didn't eat anything. I've been on the street diet. I didn't eat carelessly to say that my sugar was spiked and on medication. So from there I had to announce again the family that the baby was no more. So I had to call Happy, and he was at work. Oh God, poor guy. He was so excited because it was a girl again. He was like, oh, finally. And for him, it was like, if that baby is there, then we would just stop. Because he believed, like, you know what, now having this pregnancy like this that are risky, and I'm also putting you at risk as a person. Yes, we have to have kids, but you're also important to me.
Yeah.
So when
end of the day, this is a body. Yeah, you can't keep.
You know. So when I told him, and he had a call from someone saying that I can't.